Welcome to MrCScience.com's video on biological classification. Biological classification is how scientists label different organisms so they can all speak about the same organism, because in some places an animal may be called one thing, in another place they'll be called another thing. So they created a system of biological classification for this. Um, it's a useful tool. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. The first classification is kingdom. In our biology book, we're going to talk about 5 kingdoms. That's open to debate in different circles, but it's not that major of a debate. But there are 5 kingdoms we're going to talk about. The first half of the book, we're going to deal with the first 3 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, and fungi. The second half of the book, we're going to deal with Animalia and Plantae. So our first 5 kingdoms, each kingdom has its own similar characteristics. After that, it breaks down into 6 other classifications, each a subgroup of the one above it. So phylum, there are multiple phylums in one kingdom. There are multiple classes in one phylum. Order, family, genus, species. All species belong to one of 5 kingdoms, but species will belong to many different phylum, classes, orders. So basically a classification from most general to least general: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. You should know these. Um, some people like to use acronyms, word acronyms for them, like kings, play, cards, on, fine, glass, um, something, S. Fine glass, I've forgotten it. The acronym I always used to remember it was kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, so that's why I don't remember any other ones. Um, but this is how we break things down. In your book, they show an eagle. Let's show how they broke down an eagle. The first classification for an eagle, or a bald eagle, is Animalia. A bald eagle is animal. That one's fairly obvious. Not a plant. It's not a fungus. It's not one of the microorganisms, Monera protista. The next breakdown is its phylum, Chordata. It has a spinal cord. Its class is Aves. It's a bird. Its order is Falconiformes. It's a type of raptor. Actually, more raptor-like characteristics. Accipitridae, its family, is the actual raptors. Genus Haliaeetus is basically the sea eagles. And species Leucocephalus. Oh, I missed an E in there. Leucocephalus, which is the bald eagle. So you'll notice that the L is lowercase on the species, where all the others are uppercase. That's just standard. And if you were going to refer to an eagle by its biological name, you wouldn't use the entire Animalia, Chordata, Aves, Falconiformes, Accipitridae, Haliaeetus, Leucocephalus. It would just be Haliaeetus, Leucocephalus. Let's look at one you're fairly familiar with. Let's look at man. Okay, man belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Just like the eagle, our characteristics are both similar enough that we're both considered animals. Like the eagle, we're phylum Chordata. We both have spinal cords. Where we begin to branch off from the eagle is we are Mammalia. We are mammals. Birds are not mammals. We'll get more into what mammals are later in the course. Our order is primates. We are a primate, similar to the chimps, monkeys, chimpanzees, those types. We belong to the family Hominidae, which is different from most apes. And now you should be familiar with the last two. Genus Homo, species Sapien. When you refer to a man with scientific terms or biological classification, you just use the genus and species Homo sapien. Okay, we've got 2 final classifications that concern us. These actually relate more to our first and second kingdoms, Monera and Protista. Monera is one type of this classification. Protista, fungi, Animalia, and Plantae are the other classification. That is prokaryote versus eukaryote. Now this gets a little more into cellular biology, which we'll cover more in depth, especially in the first couple kingdoms. But main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms is prokaryotics have no internal membranes. They'll become more clear later, but basically they don't have membrane-bound organelles like the nucleus or some of the other ones we'll talk about, like mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum and things like that will come up later. So prokaryotes have no membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotes do. So if you look at a eukaryotic cell, it will have a membrane around its nucleus, so you can see the nucleus. It will have smaller organisms like mitochondria and lysosomes and chloroplasts and things like that. So we'll understand those terms better. But just for right now, you need to know that prokaryotic cells have no membrane-bound organelles. They do have a membrane around the cell, otherwise they'd just be goo, but they have no membranes inside the cell. Eukaryotes do. So that kind of covers biological classifications. If you have any questions, as usual, drop me an email at mrc@mrcscience.com.